Good morning. Welcome to the Philadelphia Assemblies. Today is the 28th day of June 2019 on the Gregorian calendar. And that's backwards what I usually do, just read it that way. But on the sacred calendar, it's the 11th day of the 4th month of the year 5779, as close as we could tell. Okay, so today being the 11th day is because, again, we see the full moon as the new moon, again, per Psalms 81, verse 3. So that's where we are today. I'm going to be continuing my expository teaching on the Torah, and we're in the book of Numbers now, and we're in part 5 of Numbers. We're going to be starting on chapter 15, but we're first going to turn towards where the temple was, where the temple will be, and as prophesied, and we're going to open in prayer. Almighty Father Yahuwah, we praise you in all things. Father, on this your preparation day for the Shabbat, the Sabbath, we ask that your blessing be upon us all and help us to be prepared for the Sabbath to come. Have our hearts and minds set on you. Father, as I delve into your word, as I expositorily teach it, Father, I ask that your anointing from the Ruach would be stepped up a notch. Father, that you would edify me and build me in the truth. Father, and where I need correction, I ask for correction. Where we have light and understanding, we ask that we could be edifying to the body. We ask it all in your precious Son, Yahushua, or Jesus' name. Amen. So, there we are. I'm going to start out in chapter 15, verse 1. And it says, And Yahuwah, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, spake unto Moshe, saying. Again, it's known, that word that they translate Lord in the King James Bible, it's known as the Tetragrammaton, which means the 4 letters. Okay, so if you hear me mention that, that's who we're referring to, the Father, the creator of all things. Okay? A lot of people believe that the Son created everything. But, I think that's a mistranslation. I think that it plainly says throughout the Tanakh or Old Testament that Yahuwah or Yahweh or Jehovah created all things. So, and at this point in Numbers 15, this is who is speaking, that Tetragrammaton, the Father. Okay, spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the Ben or sons of Israel, and say unto them, When you become into the land of your habitations, in the King James, or where you are to live, okay, this promised land, this land's flowing with milk and honey. He's saying, when you get there, which I give unto you, verse 3, and will make offerings by fire unto Yahuwah or Yahweh or Jehovah, that 4 letters, a burnt offering or a sacrifice in performing a vow or in a freewill offering or in your solemn feasts to make a sweet savor unto Yahuwah or Yahweh or Jehovah of the herd or of the flock. So again, obviously those are those split hoof creatures that he was here. And, we know that these burnt offerings and sacrifices would begin when they got into the land where that they were going to live in. Verse 4, Then shall or will he that offereth his offering, that's talking about every individual, unto Yahuwah or Yahweh, bring a meat offering of tenth deal of flour mingled with the 4th part of a hin of oil. Again, they're talking about olive oil here in this case. And anytime the King James translates that meat offering, it should have been translated grain offering. So they were supposed to take of the grain and make a 10th deal of flour, and other places it says fine flour, and mingle it with a 4th part of a hin of oil. Verse 5, And the 4th part of a hin of wine For a drink offering shall you prepare with the burnt offering or sacrifice for one lamb. So it's telling you how much to give of the grain offering and how much to give of the wine or drink offering with one lamb. Verse 6, or for a ram that shall prepare for a grain offering unto 2/10 deal of flour mingled with a third part of a hin of oil. And again, this hin is just a measurement that was used in the tabernacle of the congregation as well as in the temple later. Verse 7, and for the drink offering you shall offer the third part of a hin of wine for a sweet savor or for a soothing aroma unto Yahuwah or Yahweh or Jehovah. Verse 8, and when you preparest a bullock for a burnt offering or for a sacrifice in performing a vow, we've already went over when you give it as a peace offering, when you give it as a burnt sacrifice. And it's just telling you when you do these things according to what I've already told you, this is how you do it again. Reinforcement. Verse 9, then shall he bring with a bullock a meat or grain offering of 3/10 deals of fine flour mingled with a half a hin of oil. Verse 10, and you shall bring for a drink offering half a hin of wine for an offering made by fire of sweet savor or soothing aroma unto Yahuwah or Yahweh or Jehovah. Okay? Verse 11, this way shall it be done for one bullock or for one ram or for a lamb or a kid, according to the number that you shall prepare, so shall you do to every one according to their number. Now, notice how meticulous Yahweh or Yahuwah is in his commandments here and how it must be done. And to think that it wouldn't matter on what day we'd worship or anything like that, we also know that nothing has changed because our Messiah said not one jot or one tittle shall pass from the Torah until all be fulfilled, and even until heaven and earth pass away. So, none of that. Now we know that the sacrifices were completed in this time. That doesn't mean forever. But because our Messiah was the perfect sacrifice, he replaced all these. That doesn't mean that we can just do whatever we want to do. That just means we're not offering sacrifices at this time, especially since there's not even a temple in Jerusalem where we could offer these sacrifices. Okay? It says, according to the number that you shall prepare, okay, that you shall prepare, so shall you do to everyone according to their number. So he's given you full instructions on how to do it. And he said and that doesn't change no matter how many sacrifices are numbered. Verse 13, all that are born of the country. Now, let me tell you something. Once you get grafted in back here, a stranger, once you were circumcised, you kept the Passover, and then you had offspring, those offspring would be born of the country. It's not talking about being of the same bloodline as the rest of Israel. Once you were grafted in by being circumcised and keeping the Passover and keeping his commandments, you were Israel. And then if you had offspring, they would be born of the country. So, and then it says, shall do these things after this manner. See? So those that are born in the country shall do it this way, that after this manner. Okay? In offering, an offering made by fire of sweet savor, or a soothing aroma unto Yahuwah or Yahweh or Jehovah. Verse 14. Listen, and if a stranger, someone that's not been circumcised, not keeping the Passover with you, or whosoever be among you in your generations, and will offer an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto Yahuwah, or Yahweh, as you do, so he shall do. That means somebody that is just starting to come into the word. They're strangers. They haven't been circumcised, but they still offer an offering made by fire. There's only, and then verse 15 says there's one ordinance, or one, in this case, sacrificial ordinance, shall be for both of you, of the congregation and also of the stranger that lives with you. Because once you get brung into the congregation by circumcision and keeping of the Passover, then you were no longer a sojourner, but you were part of the congregation of Israel. An ordinance forever in your generations, as you are, so shall the stranger be before Yahuwah, or Yahweh. If he's willing to live there and go along with the commandments, then he's going to get under the same law. But once he's circumcised, and then his offspring, or those are born in the land. Okay? None of these right here were born in the land yet. Verse 16, one law and one manner. Okay, one law and one manner for you, and the same law and manner for the stranger that lives with you. 17, and Yahuwah or Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the Ben, or sons of Israel, and say unto them, when you come into the land where I am bringing you at this time, then it shall be that when you eat of the bread of the land, that's talking about from the grain, and they produce bread of that land, you shall offer up a heave offering unto Yahuwah, or Yahweh, or Jehovah. Verse 20, you shall offer up a cake of the first of your dough for a heave offering, the first that you harvested, because you didn't even plant that, okay? As you do the heave offering of the threshing floor, so shall you heave it, or, offer it. Verse 21, of the first of your dough you shall give unto Yahuwah, or Yahweh, a heave offering in your generations. And that means every year after that, throughout your generation, before you ate of that harvest that you got from the land where you were dwelling in, you would give an offering. And wherever we're dwelling in now, we still, I believe, are to give tithes. Many would disagree with me on that. And they're saying, okay, who do you give it to? Well, whoever you feel led to give it to. And, that might be just to the poor. But it's still, you're led to do that. Verse 8:22. And if you have erred or gone astray, and not observed all these commandments which Yahuwah has spoken unto Moshe, and you know that we all fall short of the mark every year over and over. Verse 23, even all that Yahuwah hath commanded you by the hand of Moshe, talking about the Torah, from the day that Yahuwah commanded Moshe, and from now on among your generations. Then it shall be, if anything be committed by ignorance, without the knowledge, and there's tons of people committing tons of things that are ignorant, including myself, of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bullock for a burnt offering, for a soothing aroma unto Yahuwah or Yahweh, with his grain offering and his drink offering, according to the manner that we just went over, the one kid of the goats for a sin offering. 25, and the priest shall make atonement for all, or reconciliation, could have been translated. And that was done once a year on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur in Hebrew, for all the congregation of the sons of Israel, Ben of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them. For it is ignorance, and they shall bring their offering a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahuwah, and their sin offering before Yahuwah or Yahweh, for their ignorance. Verse 26, and it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the sons of Israel, and the stranger that lives among them, seeing all people were in ignorance. Okay? At one time, all of them were in ignorance. Now they're coming to the knowledge of the truth. And then if you sin willfully, there remains no more sacrifice for their sins. Okay? So you couldn't do this if you willfully disobeyed the commandments. But a lot of times we just do them by oversight or by ignorance. Okay? And if any person, says soul in the King James, sin through ignorance, then he shall bring a she-goat of the first year for a sin offering. And basically it's unintentional sin, not willful. Verse 28, and the priest shall make an atonement for that person that sinneth ignorantly when he sins by ignorance before Yahuwah or Yahweh or Jehovah, to make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. You shall have one law for him that sinneth through ignorance, both of him that is born among the men of Israel, and for the stranger that lives among them. But the person who doth aught presumptuously, does anything high-minded, with a high hand, or through pride or arrogance, just disobey the commandments of God, whether he be born in the land or a stranger that lives among you, the same reproaches Yahuwah or Yahweh, and that person shall be cut off or separated from among his people. Okay? That means somebody that just doesn't give a darn and says so. Verse 31, but he hath despised the word of Yahuwah or Yahweh, and hath broken his commandment. That individual, that person, shall utterly be cut off. His lawlessness shall be upon him. His sin shall not be forgiven. Once you receive the knowledge of the truth and sin willfully, there remains no more sacrifice for your sins. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 32. And while the Ben or sons of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day, the rest day. Verse 33. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him into Moshe, or Moses, and Aaron, and to all the congregation, and they brought him forward, because it was not declared or revealed what should be done to him. It hadn't been described in the law. And Yahuwah said, or Yahweh said unto Moshe, the man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp. Well, does that mean that today, if someone does something on the Sabbath that he's not supposed to, that we stone him? No. He'd just been commanded this. Just prior to this same man, we read this account in Exodus, everyone was commanded not to do work on the Sabbath day. This guy went out on the Sabbath day to perform work. He'd also been given the manna, okay? And they'd given an example that this manna wasn't any, that there wasn't any manna there to be gathered. They went out to gather it some, but there wasn't any there to gather. So these guys had received the knowledge of the truth, and yet this guy arrogantly or high-handedly went out and gathered sticks on the Sabbath, no matter whether it was to cook or whether it was to warm himself. He wasn't supposed to be doing that on the Sabbath day, and it was in your face, and so he was to be put to death outside the camp, because Yahuwah or Yahweh made an example out of this individual, that you're not going to openly just disobey the Most High because you want to do what you want to do. Now, we're not living in his kingdom now. We're not doing that, so we don't have the authority to just put people to death now, but we certainly are to cut them off and separate them from the camp if they just show us that they are not willing to keep the commandments once they've received the knowledge of the truth. Verse 36. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp, and stoned him with stones, and he died, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. So it was done. I added, so it was done. 38. Speak unto the sons of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes. Okay? These fringes are tzitzits, in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of their borders a ribbon of blue. Now there's big disagreements, and I tend to say that, this is not changed, that we should be wearing tzitzits. And I myself don't always wear tzitzits. I should. And I'm not doing that arrogantly. I could see that in some cases it offends people when you have fringe on, especially a lot of people that are in the truth that don't wear fringes. Okay, they think because the law is written in our heart that we don't have to wear them anymore. Well, that'd be the same thing with the Sabbath or anything else, in my opinion. So we are to wear fringes because of the commandment. Not one jot or one tittle shall be removed from the law until all be fulfilled. I've even seen some churches won't even let you wear them in there. And obviously, you wouldn't want to wear a fringe in there and offend someone. Okay? So you gotta, I believe that you need to realize the commandment because it's to remind us of keeping the whole law. Okay, well, let's read it. Verse 39, and it shall be unto you for a fringe or tzitzit, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahuwah and do them. Now, do we ever need a reminder to do? Because you know what? We got this flesh that keeps telling us it's okay. We got our flesh, and it's okay if we don't go on the seventh day. We go on the first day. The law is written in our hearts. We don't have to do it physically now. It's the same argument. No reason to argue against the friends or the tzitzits any more than it would any other of his commandments. And remember, these things were to remind us when we see them to keep his commandments of Yahuwah and do them, and that you seek not after your own will. That's what it says with your own heart. It means your own will and your own eyes after you used to go whoring, like you used to do, go whoring after other gods. It's to keep you in remembrance not to do that. Verse 40, that you may remember and do all my commandments and be holy and to be set apart unto your Elohim. Now, think about it. That's the same thing with the Sabbath, okay? You're supposed to remember the Sabbath day. Remember that in the fourth commandment? It says, remember the Sabbath day. This is doing this to help you to remember. Choose to do what you want to do. Be fully convicted by the word, but I don't see it as a release, okay? Just not to do it. They're to remind you to do all the commandments and be set apart unto your Elohim. And then he reiterates by saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, or Yahweh your Elohim, whichever derivation of those four letters. Let's go over them again. I want people to get this in their head. People that say Yahuwah, okay, there's two ways. They can say Yahuwah and Yahuwah. That sounds the same. One way is they look at the four letters or the tetragrammaton as YHUH. That's how they come up with Yahuwah without a W. YHWH, Yahuwah, okay, with a W. Okay? Same sound, just different way of spelling it. I'm not nitpicking over all that stuff. Okay? It also is the same four letters they come up with Yahweh. Okay? Those same four letters are contained in the word Yahweh. Okay? And then you got YHVH, which comes Yehovah, Yahweh, okay? Which also comes Jehovah, okay? Just in modern English with the J sound that they didn't have in the older documents, okay? Not saying what's all right and what's all wrong, just telling you where it comes from. And this is who's commanding you. I am Yahuwah, or Yahweh, your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your Elohim, and I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. identifying himself of who he was. Okay? And he himself didn't come down there, but the Ruach HaKodesh was that cloud and that column of fire and that hornet and all those things that we talked about. You know, that's what led the children of Egypt. That's what was to go out and fight before them. That was everything. The angel of Yahuwah, or Yahweh, took the wheels off the carriages of Pharaoh's chariots. It was the Ruach HaKodesh. It's the same thing all the time. Okay? Chapter 16. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abram, and the sons of Elab, On, the son of Pelath, sons of Reuben, took men, verse 2, and they rose up before Moshe with certain of the Ben, or sons of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. Okay? Giants among men. Go back to Genesis 6. You'll see exactly what when they're talking about men of renown. Great men. That's what these were. These people carried a lot of weight behind them. Not necessarily they themselves were giants. Men in Anak, the people of Anak were giants. Verse 3, and they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron, and said unto them, you take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are set apart, every one of them, and Yahuwah is among them. Therefore, then lift up your eyes above the congregation of Yahuwah. Verse 4, and when Moshe heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow Yahuwah will show who are his and who is set apart, or holy. Yahuwah will show who is set apart and who's holy, and he will cause them to come near unto him, even unto him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take your censers. Moses is telling them, take your censers, your fire pans. Okay? Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahuwah tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahuwah doth choose, he shall be set apart. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. That's what they told Levi. And Moshe said unto Korah, hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi. 9. Seemeth it be but a small thing unto you that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near unto himself to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahuwah and to stand before the congregation to minister or to serve unto them. He says, is it a small thing that he has separated Levi? He's traded all the firstborn, we just talked about that, and set them apart, Levi, to do the service in the tabernacle of the congregation. And he hath brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you, and seek ye the priesthood also? Verse 11, for which cause both you and all your company are gathered together against Yahuwah, or Yahweh. That's what he's telling them. And what is Aaron that you murmur against him? Verse 12, and Moshe, or Moses, sent to call Dathan and Abiram, I pronounced that wrong a while ago, the sons of Elab, which said, we will not come up. Verse 13, it is a small thing that you hast brought us up out of the land that flows with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, except you make yourselves altogether a prince over us. So he just called Egypt, okay? And Moses sent to Dathan and Abiram, the son of Elab, which said, this is who's talking, we will not come up, we'll put fire pans in our fire. He was afraid to. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land that flows with milk and honey? Where did he bring them up from? Egypt. To kill us in the wilderness, except you make yourself altogether a prince over us. Moreover, you have not brought us into a land that flows with milk and honey, or given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Wilt you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moshe was very angry, and said unto Yahuwah, respect not you their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, one sacrifice, not one thing, neither have I hurt one of them. Now that ass would be unclean, it wouldn't be good for a sacrifice, but they traded it, and then its neck was broken. And Moshe said unto Korah, be you and all your company before Yahuwah, you and they and Aaron tomorrow, and take every man his fire pan, and put incense in them, and bring ye before Yahuwah every man his censer, 250 censers, thou also and Aaron, each of you his censer. Now, you can remember here that Aaron's two sons, okay, the eldest sons brought up just strange incense in their fire pan, and they died. Okay, now people that weren't called to bring up fire pans are getting ready to bring up fire pans. Okay, so it's an abomination because Yahuwah had already set apart the Levi as the first, traded them for all the firstborns, and they were rejecting this. Verse 18, and they took every man his fire pot, and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moshe and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them into the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and guess what? Showed up. The glory of Yahuwah appeared unto all the congregation. What do we talk about? What's the glory of Yahuwah? It's the Ruach HaKodesh. That's what appeared before Israel, and it appeared here. And Aaron spake unto Moshe and unto Aaron, and Yahuwah spake unto Moshe and Aaron, saying, and this is Yahuwah or Yahweh speaking through the Ruach HaKodesh. He didn't speak to them directly. 21, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume or destroy them in a moment, just like he did Aaron's eldest. And they fell upon their faces and said, El, Almighty One, the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, that breath of all flesh, the one that provides life to all, that's what he said, shall one man sin? And wilt you be angry with all the congregation? Okay? So, no, he's going to be angry with those that sin. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from above the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Verse 25, and Moshe rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, leave, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. If you didn't sin against him, get away from them. Verse 27, so they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram, on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of the tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. This is talking about both male and female here. Verse 28. And Moshe said, hereby you shall know that Yahuwah has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. These guys were. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahuwah hath not sent me. Verse 30. But if Yahuwah make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth, and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, that are subscribed to them, and they go down quick into the pit, then shall you understand that these men have provoked Yahuwah, Yahweh, or Jehovah, not Moshe. 31. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground split apart, clave asunder, that was under them. And the earth opened his mouth, and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained, or that signed on unto Korah, and all their goods. 33. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. They perished, they died. They didn't go down and stay alive in the pit. They died. 34. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up too also. 35. And there came out a fire from Yahuwah, or Yahweh, which would be the Ruach, and consumed the 250 men that offered incense, because they weren't commanded to offer the incense. Verse 36. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, speak to Eleazar, the son of Aaron. This is the one now that represents him, because the other two died. That he take up the censer out of the burning, and scatter you the fire yonder, for they are hallowed. Okay? They are consecrated. Verse 38, the censers of these sinners against their own lives, souls, against their own lives, let them make them broad plates for a covering of the altar, for they offered them before Yahuwah. Therefore they are set apart away from the rest of Israel, not in a good way, and they shall be a sign unto the sons of Israel. Verse 39, and Eleazar took the priest took the brazen censers wherewith they were burnt, had offered, and they were made broad plates for a covering of the altar, to be a memorial, a reminder unto the sons of Israel, men of Israel, that no stranger, see this, even if you weren't of the tribe of Levi, these guys they were Israelites, but they were considered strangers here, which is not of the seed of Aaron, the descendants of Aaron, come near to offer incense before Yahuwah, that he be not as Korah and his company, as Yahuwah or Yahweh said to him by the hand of Moshe. 41. But on the morrow all the congregation of the sons of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, saying, you have killed the people of Yahuwah, or Yahweh. He didn't kill anybody. That's crazy. And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Aaron, and they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, behold, remember what we talked about? The cloud covered it, and the glory of Yahuwah appeared, because that's the Ruach, HaKadosh, the Holy Spirit. Verse 43, and Moshe and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. And Moshe said unto Aaron, take a censer, and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly into the congregation, and make an atonement for them, a reconciliation, for them, because he's getting ready to kill them all, because they were murmuring again. In anger, gone out from Yahuwah or Yahweh, the plague has begun. Verse 47, and Aaron took as Moshe commanded and ran into the midst of the congregation, and behold, the plague, was began. Okay, the sickness or whatever this was that happened, it had started among the people, and he put on incense and made an atonement for the people, and he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed or stopped. Intercessing for Israel, because they are stiff-necked people, all of them, whether they were grafted in or otherwise. 40 now they that died in the plague were 14,700, besides them that died about the matter of Korah. And Aaron returned unto Moshe into the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the plague was stopped. Okay? It was stopped. Okay, now we're going to get one more short chapter here, and we're going to call it a break. Okay, because I can see it's going to be close enough. And again, and I added again, and Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the sons or the men of Israel, and take of every one of them a rod according to the house of their fathers, of all their princes according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods. Write thou every man's name upon this rod. And you shall write Aaron's name upon the rod of Levi, for one rod shall be for the head of the house of their fathers. 4. And you shall lay them up in the tabernacle of the congregation before the ark of the covenant, or the testimony, where I will meet with you. And it shall come to pass that the man's rod whom I shall choose shall blossom, and I will make to cease from me at murmurings of the Ben or sons of Israel, whereby they murmur against you, Aaron and Moshe. And Moshe spake unto the sons of Israel, and every one of their princes gave him a rod apiece, or each, for each prince one, according to their fathers' houses or families, even 12 rods, and the rod of Aaron was among their rods. So this was a sign for the children of Israel, who was the priest, the high priest. Verse 7, and Moshe laid up the rods before Yahuwah in the tabernacle of witnesses. And it came to pass that on the morrow, or the next day, Moshe went into the tabernacle of witnesses, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi was budded, and brought forth buds and blooms, and yielded almonds. Verse 9, and Moshe brought out all the rods from before Yahuwah unto the sons of Israel, and they looked, and took every man his rod. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony, to be kept for a sign or a token against the rebels. And you shall quite take all their murmurings from me, that they die not. So there was an atonement made, and there was a reminder laid out of who was chosen, so that he didn't kill all of them. Verse 11, and Moshe did so as Yahuwah commanded him, so did he. And the sons of Israel spake unto Moshe, saying, before we die, we perish, we all perish. Okay, they're going to, if they murmur against him. Verse 13, whosoever cometh anything near unto the tabernacle of Yahuwah, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, shall die. Shall we be consumed with dying? I think I said we're going to stop. I think I'm going to move on, because I think I can get in another chapter here. Chapter 18, and Yahuwah said unto Aaron, you and your sons and your father's house or family with you shall bear the sins or the iniquity, the lawlessness of the sanctuary. And you and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood, because they've been given much responsibility. Much is going to be expected of them. Okay, they're going to live within those commandments, and if that priesthood is made abominable, then it's going to lay on them. Verse 2, and your brethren also of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, bring you with you, that they may be joined unto you, and serve unto you. But you and your sons with you shall serve before the tabernacle of witnesses, or the testimony, commandments. And they shall keep your commands or charges. And the charge of all the tabernacle, only they shall not come near the vessels, those things we've been talking about, of the sanctuary and the altar, that neither they nor you also die. Even when they carried those things, they had to carry them on rods or staves. They couldn't touch any of those things. Verse 4, that was even within the tribe, of Levi. It was like that. So only Aaron and them could do and his direct descendants could do the service in the Holy of Holies, where these sacred things were. And, are just outside of the Holy of Holies, because only the high priest went in once a year. I want to make sure I'm clear. They went into the first area, not into the Holy of Holies, or set apart. And they shall be joined unto you, and keep the charge of the tabernacle of the congregation for all the service of the tabernacle, and a stranger shall not come near unto you. That means anybody that's not commanded to be there. They are considered strangers in that area. Verse 5, and you shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and the charge of the altar, that there be no wrath any more upon the sons of Israel, the men of Israel. All in red in this red letter edition. And I, behold, I have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the sons of Israel. To you they are given as a gift of Yahuwah. So they were called to do service to the rest of them. They were a gift from Yahuwah to the congregation to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 7. Therefore you and your sons with you shall keep your priest's office for everything of the altar, and within the veil, and you shall serve. I have given your priest's office unto you as a service or a gift to everyone else. And the stranger, anybody else from any of the other tribes of Israel that cometh near, shall be put to death. Number 8, and Yahuwah spake unto Aaron, behold, I also have given you the charge, or the command, of mine heave offerings of the hallowed things of the sons of Israel, the things they brought to offer. Gave it to the Levites. Okay? Of all hallowed things that men of Israel, unto you have I given them, by reason of anointing, and to your sons, Aaron and his direct descendants. 9, this shall be thine of the most set apart or holy things, reserved for the fire every oblation, gift, and theirs, your grain offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, and every trespass offering of theirs, the children of Israel, that's theirs, which they shall render or give unto me. Yahuwah shall be most set apart for you, sons of Aaron and his sons, and for your sons. Verse 10, in the most set apart place, the Holy of Holies, shall you eat it. Every male shall eat it. It shall be set apart unto you. Verse 11, and this is thine, the heave offering or of your gift, with all the wave offerings of the sons of Israel. I have given them unto you and unto your sons, and to your daughters with you by statute or ordinance forever. Every one that is clean in your house shall eat of it. See, and they said, well, we're not priests today. You're right, we're not. But we're still called to do service. Okay, that doesn't mean that we should be living off of the church, not according to what Paul said, or the congregation, or the ecclesia. Verse 12, all the best of the oil, all the best of the wine, and of the wheat, and the first fruits of them which they shall offer unto Yahuwah, them have I given you, the priest, those servants. 13, and whatsoever is ripe, first ripe in the land, which they shall bring unto Yahuwah, shall be yours. Every one that is clean in your house shall eat of it. Everything devoted in Israel shall be yours. Everything that opens the matrix, the firstborn, in all flesh, which they bring unto you, unto Yahuwah, whether it be of men or of beast, shall be yours. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man shall you surely redeem, and the firstlings of the unclean beast shall you redeem, exchange. And those that are to be redeemed from a month old shall you redeem, according to thine estimation, for the money of 5 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 gerhas. But the firstlings of a cow, or the firstlings of a sheep, or the firstlings of a goat, thou shalt not redeem, or exchange, or pay for, or buy. They are set apart. You shall sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and shall burn their fat upon the offering made by fire for a sweet savor, or aroma unto Yahuwah, or Yahweh. And the flesh of them shall be yours, as the wave beast, and as the right shoulder, the white wave breast, I said beast, I'm sorry, and as the right shoulder are yours. All the heave offerings of the set apart things which the sons, Ben of Israel, offer unto Yahuwah have I given you, and your sons and your daughters with you by a statute or ordinance forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before Yahuwah unto you and to your descendants with you. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shall you have any part among them. I am your part and thine inheritance among the sons of Israel, Ben of Israel. And behold, I have given the Ben of Levi all the 10th in Israel for an inheritance. See, we don't know who Levi is, so we don't give a 10th. Well, it still belongs to Yahuwah. You got to give it to somebody, and you should give it to the poor or give it to a ministry that you think is serving the belief system that you support. For their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. 22, neither must the sons of Israel from now on come near the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. 23, but the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their sins. It shall be a statute forever throughout their generations, that among the sons of Israel, the Ben of Israel, they have no inheritance of land. 24, but the tithes of the sons of Israel, which they offer as a heave offering unto Yahuwah, I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore I have said to them, among the sons of Israel they shall have no inheritance. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when you take of the sons of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then you shall offer up a heave offering of it to Yahuwah, even a 10th part of the tithe. Now, I don't at all believe that ministers, servants, are not Levi, so they shouldn't be living off of the tithe. Okay, I agree with that statement. But that doesn't mean that that tithe can't be used for the ministry, sown back into that. You know, I've never taken payment for being a minister or a teacher. Even when I've been in other congregations, I would give that back because I always worked a job to support my family. I think that goes back to the curse as well, that we're to earn that by the sweat of our brow. I don't look ever for the church to support me, okay? But I do, or the ecclesia. But the ecclesia still should be paying tithe to support the ministry, the outreach, all those things that have to be done. That money still belongs to Yahuwah, okay? Look for congregations that do the right thing, that the minister's not living off of it at all, that he's not getting any of his bills paid or anything from the ministry, okay? He does those by working his job or whatever other means of income that he has of himself, and not take that tithe to do that. But on the other hand, don't say that there's no tithe, okay? Because I don't believe the scripture supports that. Obviously, we're not to inherit that as an inheritance, me, okay, or any other teacher out there. Verse 27, and this your heave offering shall be reckoned unto you as though it were the grain of the threshing floor and as the fullness of the winepress. See, they had a lot more to do even than we have to do, and we got a lot to do today, okay, to get the word out. Okay, but they did all these other things, receiving all these sacrifices, working in the congregation, the tabernacle of the congregation, working in the temple later on. They did that as a full-time job. There wasn't time for nothing else. This is not the same way for us. Okay, it's not. And this your heave offering shall be reckoned unto you as it were the grain of the threshing floor and as the fullness of the winepress. Verse 28. Thus you shall offer an heave offering unto Yahuwah of all your tithes, which you receive of the band of Israel, and you shall give thereof Yahuwah's heave offering, or the heave offering of Yahuwah's, actually how it reads in Hebrew, to Aaron the priest. We don't have Aaron the priest. Yahushua is now our high priest. And we are not priests in the flesh. We won't be priests until we receive a spiritual body in that first resurrection, and then we'll be the priesthood after the order of Melchizedek. We'll have our job to do, whatever that is at that time. Verse 29, out of all your gifts you shall offer every heave offering of Yahuwah, of all that best thereof, even the set apart thereof out of it. 30, therefore thou shalt say unto them, when you have heaved the best thereof from it, then it shall be counted unto the Levites as an increase of the threshing floor. And then they had to give a tithe of the best of all that, and as the incense of the winepress. And you shall eat it in every place, you and your household, for it is your reward, or your wages, for your service in the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 32, and you shall bear no sin by reason of it. In other words, by taking it, they're not bearing any sin. When you have heaved from it the best of it, back to the Yahuwah as a tithe, neither shall you pollute the set apart things of the bin of Israel, lest you die. We're going to stop right there. That'll be the end of part 5. We're going to be in part 6. Okay, and we'll do that tomorrow, because tomorrow's Shabbat. This is Friday, and we're going to be tomorrow. This is our preparation day. Tomorrow's Shabbat. We'll be here with the next lesson, part 6 then. And may the 4 letters, YHUH, or YHWH, or YHVH, add his blessing to the reading of the Word.